All right, guys. So right now we've got in a 170R a customer sent in because they're having some issues with the board and the screen where they're powering it on. And then when they try to power it off, it doesn't turn off. And the only way to do that is to get it to power off completely is to disconnect the battery. So we're going to look at the gun real quick. I've got it here. Obviously, it's got some pretty good use because there's a ton of paint on the grips and everything, which is normal. Paint gets in the little cracks and stuff like that. And unless you get in there with a toothbrush or something like that, it's not coming out of there. All right, well, let's see what it does first off. So I'm going to power it on. Screen is really faint. Well, battery shows at 0 basically down there. And it's every time this blinks, and battery's, it's disappearing. So the screen is dying. And I'm pretty sure it's just because of the battery. Let's see if I can even turn the eyes off. Eyes are off. Solenoid's clicking, but the screen is having a hard time keeping up, which probably means that this battery is very dead. And I'm going to try to power it off. So it says goodbye, and it still says goodbye on it. I can barely see it on there. Let me see if I can even power it back on. I can't even power the gun back on. So it's probably real hard to see in there, but because of the glare on the screen and everything, but it does still say goodbye on there slightly. All right. So let's get into it real quick. We're going to take the grips off. And then we will go from there. So we've got our grips off. Let's get our front off. That's coming off. It's got a good battery, not like an off-brand or anything like that. So it's an Energy Paintball battery. Let's disconnect it. I'm going to take a battery that I know is good and see what kind of difference we've got here. Also, much brighter screen, powers on. But this is showing that this battery is almost dead on here. The meter is all the way down to the bottom. Oh, and it just popped up to that right there. So let's kind of just let it sit here for a second. So definitely not as noticeable of a screen flicker when we're firing. But let's just let this sit for a second and see what the battery does. In the meantime, take our little meter here, and we're going to test this battery that was sent in with it, just to see where we're at. Ooh, this is a 5.9 volt, 6 volt battery right here. So, definitely would cause some issues as far as the performance of the gun. Obviously, we want to make sure that we have good batteries in there. Now for this one, it's gone down a little bit more even. Now we're about halfway. It started at like nothing and then jumped way up, and now it's down to half. Let's give that another second just to see what it does right there. While this is sitting here, I'm just gonna let that percolate for a second. Oh, I can see, look, it's even gone down even further now. So, oh, then it just popped back up again. So I'm pretty sure there's an issue with this board. To have inconsistencies on the battery, let's take this battery out and check it real fast. Check this one as well. So we're at 8.93 volts on there. So we should not be seeing like a huge shift on the battery, especially the display from going from almost full to mid to down to back. That inconsistency is weird right there. And let's do another thing real fast. So let's have this, let's plug this back in. Power it back on. Battery's reading about half now. Let's turn the eyes off. Good on there. Let's try to power off. So we power off, and the goodbye screen is still on. Gun is off. Let's try to power on. It went blank when I hit the power button, but when I let go of the button, the screen pops back on as saying goodbye. So that's not right. And then let's disconnect. And now we're off. All right. So this is going to be pretty straightforward. Sit tight for a second while I go and grab a board real quick. All right, so I'm back. Got a new board right here. We're going to pull this old board out. Obviously, we're going to be careful of our wiring. Let's disconnect here. Here, here, here. I'm going to slide this board out. I'm going to pull off our screen, our little spacer, set that to the side, come back, get our spacer back on, put our screen in. Make sure that's seated all the way down. And we can slide this in. I'm going to make sure that our button isn't in the way down there when we slide that in. It slides in easily. Another thing you want to make sure is this wire right here, that when you slide the board in, that you don't pinch this wire in the slot where the board is going to slide into. So it needs to come around through there and not get pinched on anything. So it's very important. After you connect that power wire, then you can kind of tuck that back down inside there. But you just want to make sure that you don't catch that wire as you're putting it together. And there we go. Push that in there. In. And in. All right. So let's see what this new board does. Power it on. Oh, you just can't power it on without the battery, right? All right, power on. Go! Nice bright screen. We don't get any screen flicker with the blinking of the light, which is good. Showing a full battery. Shut the eyes off. We don't really even get a screen flicker when we're pulling the trigger. Barely, but that's normal. And we're reading an appropriate battery level also. So full battery, because we checked it on the meter. And we did have a basically 9 volt on there, slightly under 9 volt. And I'm not getting any fluctuation on the battery reading. It's not dropping, it's not going up, it's not going anywhere. It's just sitting there, consistent as it should. So pretty straightforward, but it does happen every once in a while. This gun will be taken care of. I don't see any kind of external damage to this that would indicate that anybody caused this problem to the board. Obviously, I can check the warranty status on this marker, assuming that the customer has set up their warranty with it and that it is still under warranty. But that's all stuff I can check there. So that's it. You know, every once in a while, boards do go bad. It is possible. It's not very often, but it does happen. So luckily, if you're an authorized Planet Eclipse warranty center or service center, it's something like this is easy to take care of. So Make sure if you ever are needing to get your gun serviced that you are going to a service center that is a registered Eclipse center. Otherwise, you never know what can be happening. So, all right, that's it. Replace the board. Gun seems to be fine. We'll get it back out to the customer. We'll get a new battery in there for them so they're not running dead batteries. Number one killer of paintball guns, friends, dead batteries, and friends. So friends and dead batteries. Anyway, that's it for this one. This is a short one, super simple, but interesting nonetheless. See you guys next time.